you met some of the activists, and you're kind of an activist yourself. Why do you think human trafficking needs to be addressed?
I mean, first of all, because it's such a huge issue and it's happening, and I mean, I can't imagine why it wouldn't be addressed, right? Like, it's a human rights violation. You're talking about groups of people that have a lot less power, so they need to have people advocating for them, and they need to be engaged once they're empowered. You know, I mean, once they're in a position to be able to advocate for themselves. I mean, I don't know how to answer that, because, like, how could you not have people working on these issues? I mean, if you don't, like, I don't know. If you don't, it's like the environment, you know? I mean, it just boggles my mind when people look at these really large issues and they're like, well, I'll deal with it tomorrow. It's like, okay, except that all, like, you know, thousands and thousands of people are being trafficked through labor and sex and all sorts of industries that are demanding that. Same thing with the environment. It's like, so you're going to continue to wait and wait and wait. I mean, so I think it just has to be addressed in the same way that slavery had to be addressed, you know? So I don't know. I don't know exactly how to answer that other than to say,
I think that it has to,
you know? That's totally cool.
So then, why is it important to you? I can't read upside down.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, at a first,
Yeah, you said you feel really doing something for the people and you feel really good about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think too, if you live in some of the countries that are exporting countries for trafficking, and you talk to people who've either lost children or sisters or who haven't had contact with them, and you start to, I mean, it's just, once you start to really talk to people who've experienced trafficking, whether it's because they're providing services to trafficking victims, whether it's because they're police and they're arresting them, or because they're running, you know, whatever their capacity is, it's very, very different than just reading about it and being like, oh, these people who are trafficked and in brothels. I mean, this is like in Queens. You know, it's in Queens, it's in Brooklyn, it's off of my train line that this is happening. So, and I think when you've read about it in an academic way and you keep your eyes open, you see it. I mean, like, you see people and you know that they have been trafficked. And to ignore that, knowing that, to me, you are then culpable, you're participating. So I think people can engage in different ways and decide to be active at different levels. But to know that it's happening, to be able to recognize that it's happening in a particular place in your own community and not do anything, to me raises a real moral issue about, you know, are you then participating in something just by understanding that it's there, seeing it's there, and not doing anything? You know, people have different opinions about that, but that's sort of where I come down on it.
We're just
becoming very preachy, guys.
No, it's good. It's good. Okay, so how do you and GLI address human trafficking?
A lot of our work comes out in curriculum. So one of the things that we try to do is either develop actual sort of program materials so that girls can use them or boys can use them in their own chapters. So things like, you know, reading about newspaper articles or screening documentaries and then having whole discussions that are based around that issue. So really trying to get a handle on, you know, what is trafficking? What are the different types of trafficking? Where's trafficking happening? What can you do to be engaged in trafficking? What organizations? So it's sort of like a whole getting your head around the issue. And there are a lot of organizations, particularly in New York, that are working on these issues directly. You know, that say like for us, our organization is really looking at education and all of the things that intersect with education. For other organizations, it's just trafficking. Like, they're just looking at one specific form of trafficking. And so, you know, we would link kids up with them and say, you know, they're good resources to go to if you're looking for a specific country or a specific issue. And the other thing, we did one big event this year was a film screening on the film Very Young Girls. Do you know that? I think Sasha's actually going to start screening it at lunch next week. And it is a documentary that was done about sex trafficking and sexual exploitation in New York City. And it's all girls from this area, from New Jersey, New York, and it's interviews with them and with this woman, Rachel Lloyd, who runs the organization GEMS, which is Girls Educational and Mentoring Services. And Rachel was she's a former prostitute, she was trafficked, and she now runs this organization in Queens, or I think in the Bronx, and it's just specifically for girls who've been trafficked and experienced sexual exploitation. And so we did a really large film screening of that, and then Rachel came and talked to the group about, you know, what is this, and people just sort of asked her questions for an hour, and she answered them. Yeah, you should definitely watch. I know Sash's going to screen it because I'm giving her the video, so you should definitely watch it. It's really, I mean, it's hard to watch because my boyfriend and I watched it one night, like late at night, and I was like, oh, you know, I have to watch this for work, let's put it in. It's like 10 o'clock at night, and at the end of it we were just like, oh my god, this is like so depressing, because literally when the girls are talking, she's like, well, you know, I got off the L train, and we were like, we live on the L train, you know, and so it's just like, it's a totally, yeah, I mean, it's a totally different, I think getting to know issues like right here in New York, in our communities, is so different than being like, oh, it's coming from Cambodia, and you're like, yeah, okay, you know, maybe I have family in Cambodia, or maybe I have a friend in Cambodia, but it's not the same. Like, they're not in the bars you go to, or that I go to, or the, you know, the clubs that you're, whatever, it's just different, so.
What day of the week does GLI meet?
Fridays.
But I think Sasha's screening it at lunch on Wednesday.
Oh, want to go?
Yeah, it would really relate to our topic.
I'm asking her because we're partners and they're partners.
Yeah, you guys, you all should go. It's really good.
It's just so shocking to me because it's like, I thought, like, you know, obviously human trafficking in another country, and it's like it's happening in New York. Like,
Yeah,
how does that even
like
happen?
Like in Florida or Mexico.
Yeah,
Texas, like
how does that even happen in New York? It's like, I can't wrap my mind around it. Like,
I mean, part of it is like there's such, I mean, New York is such a big city, and you see this, like you see it in Tokyo, you see in these really large cities in particular, because it's so easy for people to get lost.
Oh yeah, it's easy to hide that.
And everybody looks so different in New York. You know, you hear somebody speaking with like an Eastern European accent, and you're not going to be like, oh, that's interesting. You know, where did all these Eastern European girls come from? Like in New York, you just don't think about it, and so it's very easy for people to get lost in the mix. I mean, and I think that people who traffic in humans capitalize on that. And it's why, you know, I mean, you should just Google, you know, either sex trafficking, or are you specifically focusing on a certain type of sex trafficking?
yeah.
Like, just Google, if you haven't already done it, sex trafficking in New York City.
Yeah.
See what pops up. I mean, another thing to do, and this is what I did when I was doing my research, and this is like the most disturbing thing, is if you go and you look at these sites for like dating services and marriage services.
Yeah, those are pretty.
Have you looked at them yet?
I've seen commercials on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I don't mean like the, what are they like Match.com. I don't mean
You're
that.
talking about where it's like a
mail order bride.
If you just Google mail order bride, all of these sites come up, and they're not illegal. They're all like testimonies, and you see these men that are honestly 50, 60 years old with these girls who are like clearly 14 years old. Maybe they're 16, you know, and it's all these testimonies about how happy they are and how, you know, he went down and he met her family. I mean, it's all there. It's not even that hidden. So I mean, and that to me is why it's amazing, like the sex tourism industry, all of this, girls being, you know, shipped from Cambodia to Japan to serve as American businessmen who go over to Japan for the sex industry. I mean, it's just really, really, you don't have to do a lot of research to find it. It's very, very close.
It's crazy. I don't know, because my friend sent me a link once, and it's just like, a father was advertising like a marriage for his daughter, and he's like, oh, must be like 40 years old, be a rich businessman, and my daughter's 16, very pretty with blonde hair, and I was just like, oh my god, are they actually doing this? Like, it's crazy. Like,
I mean, and then you have the issue of like, there are bidding wars on virgins. Like, traffickers will like claim that their girls are virgins, and there will be bidding wars for them. Yeah, I mean, it's just like an amazing amount of, and I mean, obviously some of that stuff is more underground, but if I know about it, it's not that underground, you know what I mean? It's not, this is pretty common knowledge for people who are doing research on this, so